Limited at Winchester Speedway. You've had some experience running supers and also street stocks, but your daughter Whitney is now running a champ kart. She raced up in Pennsylvania, actually picked up a couple wins up there from what I understand, but you guys are going to be concentrating on running with her on Friday nights at Augusta Motor Speedway, and then you're going to be at Winchester on Saturday nights with Jim Seville and his staff. But before we get to Whitney, I'm going to say the best for last. We'll talk a little bit about your racing career. That was a good one, wasn't it? But anyhow, Scott, you had your own equipment for many years, and you've teamed up with Jim Seville, which I think has been a lot of teams have been doing that where they've teamed up with other people. You shut the car down yesterday. How do you feel about coming into the 2011 season?
I feel pretty good about what we got going on. Car handled well yesterday, had a few bugs to work out, but I think we're going to be okay.
Now, last year you ran mostly at Winchester. You did come with us a couple times with the Bandits. You've traveled with us in 2009. Do you see yourself primarily staying at Winchester, or do you think you'll branch out any at all?
Well, the whole deal is kind of budget driven. We would love to get out and travel with the Bandits. I think it's a really good series, and I love the competition there. If the budget allows, we want to catch as many races as we can. Other than that, we'll be at Winchester primarily, and race hard on Fridays.
Now, with you moving up from street stocks to limiteds to supers, and now you actually move back to steel blocks, what advice can you give to her, not only her, but to other young fans and drivers that are getting into racing?
Well, like her, actually, I started out the go-karts also. I was in a flat part like that yellow one over there, but the biggest thing about these go-karts, and these kids understand that, that's probably the closest thing I've ever driven to driving these late models. You have to be so smooth on your steering and so smooth on your footwork to drive those go-karts and be competitive and fast, and that's a lot how we drive these late model cars. So they can really learn a lot about racing and driving these cars by the go-karts.
Now, the other week, I know you and I had talked there at lunchtime, and you mentioned about you possibly getting back into a kart yourself just to have a little fun and play around with them, but it's not so much necessarily fun. I mean, these cars go fast. It's just as serious as running one of these big cars down the speedway, especially when you're hitting speeds of 70, 80 miles an hour. Do you ever get that gumption, or whatever you want to call it, to where you do want to go back and race these cars more than just once or twice?
I'll race anything. You want to have a foot race across the parking lot, I'm in. So yeah,
you help me out on that, because I ain't running.
Any chance you get to race, I want to drive. But I do like the go-karts. I love how competitive they are. And the guys that are on the go-karts, especially when you get into the unrestricted classes, they're just as serious about their game as we are our game. So when you go there to race, you call it having fun because you enjoy the racing, but them guys are out to beat you. You better bring your A game when you go racing.
Now, Scott, before we jump over here and talk to your daughter, anybody you'd like to thank for your race team in 2011?
Well, the biggest thing is I really need to thank James Seville. Him and like Jim Wood, for them, I wouldn't be racing, so I really appreciate their help. We have Kidwell Fence from the car this year, Enrico's Pizza, CSW Construction. Without your sponsors, you really ain't going anywhere, so we're hoping for a good year, but so it's all up to what James does.
And Scott, good luck next week at Winchester season opener. Hopefully we'll see you in victory lane there. Miss Whitney. All right, we're going to talk to you here a little bit. Last year you actually picked up a couple wins, or was it one or two, or how many wins did you have up in Pennsylvania?
None last year. I only raced 6 races, but the year before I got one.
Now, that was in the champ kart division. Now, do you run multiple divisions in that, or you pretty much primarily stick with one particular division?
Right now in the blue plates, I'm not old enough to go up to gold, and too old to go down to blue.
And what is the significant difference? Is it just the age, or the horsepower, or what is that?
Both.
Both. Now, do they accommodate for weight as you get older, or is the horsepower the biggest thing that they look at?
The older you get, the more you have to weigh, but mostly it's horsepower.
Now, Whitney, you're going to be racing at Augusta Motor Speedway, which is about roughly 40 minutes west of here on Route 50. Calvin Davis has done an outstanding job of setting that track up for you guys. Are you looking forward to going up there and racing this year?
Very much. It's been killing me for about a month
now. Now you've watched your dad race, the last 15 years or so. Do you ever see yourself moving on up from kart racing up to a late model?
From the time I was about 6, I've been trying to take his ride.
Ah, a little competition in the household as well. Now, wait a minute. Now, you got a young man coming up, too, so that might be a little competition there for both of you.
Yeah.
I hope not. He can be a little crew chief, but he's not taking the ride.
A little crew chief, but not taking the ride. All right, that's how this works. But Whitney, is there anybody you'd like to thank before we turn the music back on?
I'd like to thank Champion Auto Sales, my parents, and both sets of my grandparents.
Outstanding. Once again, this is Whitney Merriman. She's driving one of the champ cars. And Scott Merriman, give them a round of applause.